Good morning.
Good morning, sunshine.
Good morning.
Looking like a ray of sunshine over there. How was your booster experience?
I think it's still going on, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's still going on.
you look boosted. How you feel though? You feel like,
What do you mean?
do you feel it in you or what?
Yeah, I feel it in me for sure.
What are your? Let's not even call them symptoms, but what are your side
Issues,
effects?
Yeah.
Feeling really dizzy.
Wow.
Yeah.
What else?
Little weak.
A little weak.
Yeah. Headaches.
All right. There's more. I feel like there's more.
Low tolerance for.
People.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just waiting for short temper to. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that's an official one, but you know.
Low tolerance for Chris. All right. Well, how was your experience getting?
Oh
the
gosh,
booster?
everybody over at Mingilao, they're so professional. They're
Yep.
very efficient.
Wow.
And it wasn't just me, my son, he got his second dose of the Pfizer. So I was, had to wait for him to get his shots. And then, I got mine. Funny thing is, and I told Jason the story that, I asked him, I said, hey baby, shoot video of mommy getting, the vaccine, the booster. So he shot video, but he only shot like a really close-up shot of my arm.
It's called a tight shot, Bree.
Yeah.
He knows because he pretty much works here, so he knows what he was doing.
And, it's like, Brock. And he goes, what? He said to shoot you getting your shot. I did.
So you're a tad bit on edge.
Kids.
People are
Kids.
gonna be asking me. They're gonna be like, "Hey, Jace, how come Sabrina got the shot and yet Chris got the black eye?"
Oh man.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. So when I got back to the station, apparently, Jason, you told everybody.
Yeah, he told me this morning. There were some other details that
It's
he
a great
added.
story.
Yeah,
So-
wanted to post the video, like, did my
Yeah.
part. And it's like, you wouldn't know. It's just like this arm with a needle going in it.
It's a great angle, though.
That's the money shot, though, Bree.
He's the next Scorsese.
You got it. Yep, definitely. 9/11. Let's go into the KUAM News Link Zoom room. Dr. Michael is standing by here. He's with the Physicians Advisory Group as the Education Chair, and also with One Love Pediatrics. Good morning, Doc.
Hey, morning, guys. Thanks for having me on.
I just wanted to first ask: have you been following what's going on over in the CNMI?
I think I just read a case that they got a new case out there, but I haven't been following it too closely, no.
Yeah, they actually have a cluster, and they shut down their schools because there was, it was like
Oh,
30.
no.
Is it up to 30 cases now, Bree?
I saw that.
Yeah, yeah.
After nothing for over
No.
200 days straight.
No
and then-
community transmission for like 200 some days.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's unfortunate. That's very tragic. Yeah, I mean, this virus is so contagious. Just needs a little spark plug, right? And then unvaccinated populations are just going to be tinder.
What about I guess here on Guam, we're seeing all those positives over at DOE. Granted that doesn't necessarily mean that they got it while they were attending school, but we see more children testing positive, and not just from DOE. It's just DOE because it's the largest
Right.
school system.
Catholic schools also, we've
Yeah.
seen some cases.
Yeah, in my clinic, what I'm still seeing is that almost the overwhelming majority of cases are going to be kids are turning positive if they get sick after a parent gets sick. Whether or not a parent gets vaccinated, definitely more common when there's an adult that isn't vaccinated at home. I can think of 2 cases now where when I went back and really, got a detailed history, they said, oh, you know what, no adults were sick. And, it looks like the only other kid that got sick was some other kid at school. I've only had 2 cases then, but almost the overwhelming majority has been an adult has been sick first, then a kid gets sick. It's almost always COVID. When I see kid-to-kid transmission or a kid gets sick and then spreads it to the household, whenever we check it, hasn't been positive.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my guess of what's been going on.
Mm-hmm. Have you heard of any new MISC cases?
I haven't. It's only been the 2 that I know of, but again, I'm not I haven't been in the hospital for a few weeks now, and I haven't also seen anything on the pediatrician chat or anything. But hopefully, like I said, it's a very rare, right? 300 cases out of 1 million COVID cases. So hopefully this isn't something that we see too much of, but always good to be aware.
We could have just maxed out already, huh?
I mean, that'd be so nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very optimistic look on it though.
We're still waiting on word on whether or not they're going to lower the eligibility for the vaccine for younger children. Have you heard what the plans are with public health, the physicians advisory group, Adelie, on how they're going to work this out?
So, well, first of all, the vaccine has gotten FDA EUA approval. The next step now will be for the ACIP, the advisory committee of immunization practices. So they're another national group that's going to have to look at it, and then they give their recommendations to the CDC, and then that's when the CDC can give their recommendations. But public health has already been working. We talked about it, discussed in the PAC. Most likely, giving the vaccines at the bigger vaccine clinic sites that already exist is probably going to be the most effective and efficient. I think they also discussed maybe the schools. And then I would love to give vaccines at my clinic. I just would love to have to check out like the logistics of it, right? If we have to watch the kids for half an hour, and I assume it's going to be similar to the adult doses. It's a smaller dose, but once you crack the vial, you're probably going to have to use it within X amount of time. And so I just have to make sure I have enough space to accommodate all that. And if I can, I would love to give the vaccine in clinics. And public health has reached out and asked me, and I assume other pediatricians, if they would like to give the vaccine in clinics. But we're gonna have to wait a few more days. Probably next week is probably the earliest we'll hear from the ACIP, the Committee of Immunization, on the recommendations that we'll get from the CDC.
And so then I guess what should parents know if they've got a child under 12 that are thinking about it, or maybe kind of nervous about possibly giving their child this, or getting their child to get immunized with the COVID vaccine? What would you tell them?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like in my clinic, and I understand, like, I probably might have a skewed clinic demographic, but most of the parents are very excited about getting the vaccine. The vast majority of my clinic parents have gotten it, and they can't wait for their kids to get it. That being said, I'm sure every parent out there is wondering, like, oh, has this been tested enough? Which it has. Is it safe? I mean, we've had 11 million people with it, or more. No, much more than that. Take that back. We've had, millions of people with it now. When we know that the side effects, it turns out to be a pretty very safe vaccine. And yeah, I mean, overall, I would say it's a safe vaccine. I would get it. I would definitely get it for my son if it was available for his age. And it'll protect them from getting to the hospital. I think I saw the most recent thing from the CDC weekly M&M reports where it's saying over a few month period, they tracked adolescents that were going to the hospital. And 97% of the adolescents that were in the hospital were admitted for COVID were unvaccinated. And so the vaccine is, very effective in that age group as well. They probably mount even a better response than the adults do, to be honest. So it'll definitely protect them.
Are there certain, I guess, conditions for children that are under 12 that would prevent them from getting the vaccine?
One that would prevent them from getting vaccine. I mean, again, if they had like a life-threatening allergic reaction to the flu vaccine, any allergy, although, kids typically don't get that. Immunocompromised kids, because it's not an active vaccine, it's something that immunocompromised people definitely should get. So they wouldn't be ruled out of it. I can't think of anything off the top of my head where, unless it was like an allergic reaction to an ingredient in the vaccine, that would preclude you from getting it.
Is the dosage the same for teenagers and adults or children over 12?
I believe the dosage is a third of a dose.
Okay.
But we'll have to see once the recommendations come out, what they recommend. Yeah. And I don't know if they're going to recommend a booster afterwards. I imagine they would, but I don't know, maybe they'll extend the time that you need to get a booster just because you might mount a better response. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what the recommendations are.
Yeah, my son, like I mentioned earlier, he got his second dose, and even after the first dose, his arm was just a little bit sore. And other than that, he was fine. What about for these younger kids? Is there any sort of side effects parents should anticipate?
It seems like the most common one is going to be the one that everybody else has already kind of seen. We'll probably have a pretty sore arm and then might feel a little bit tired the next day or so. I would say it's probably going to be very similar to what the 12-year-olds have been experiencing, would probably be my guess. We don't expect any, scary side effects. Of course, everybody's aware of like the myocarditis, which is even in the highest risk demographic is 80 cases per million, cases administered. So, it's not something that's, it's so rare. That's kind of hard to say that.
I'm glad
that would be a reason not to get it.
I'm glad you mentioned myocarditis. Can you explain what that is to our viewers?
Myocarditis is going to be inflammation over the heart. You can have pericarditis, which is going to be the lining of the heart that gets inflamed. It can be caused by a viral trigger. So, when every year we get like hand, foot, mouth disease, like it just kind of swoops around the island, there's a virus. One of the viruses that causes the Coxsackie is known to be able to cause myocarditis, pericarditis. But it's really rare. I don't remember the last time I saw a viral cause of that, but we have cases that pop in every once in a while to the hospital. And usually we monitor them, make sure they're doing okay, and then they usually leave a little bit afterwards.
Well, thank you. Is there any final word, I guess, that you have to say to parents about with children under 12 on why they should be vaccinated?
Yeah, it'll definitely, we know the vaccine is very effective, right? So it'll definitely protect the kids from getting sick with COVID. It's one less thing they have to worry about. At this point in time, and I'm, thinking about the CNMI, that makes a lot of sense. It's just a matter of when are you going to get COVID? Are you going to get COVID before you're vaccinated, or are you going to get COVID after you're vaccinated? And if that's, kind of the direction that this pandemic is looking towards, we got to start looking at living with the virus now and not really thinking about that we're going to be able to stamp it out completely. It's probably going to be around for a long, long time. I would much prefer all of my patients and any patient that could get the shot to get COVID after you get the shot. Studies are showing now that there was a question at one point whether it was more effective to have immunity just from natural infection. You just got COVID, now you're protected, versus getting the shot as being protected. Of course, this is studied over adult population, and when they looked, they saw that people who got naturally infected had a 5-time higher chance of getting reinfected, or at least getting a positive test again. Of course, it could have other things that influence its behavior. Of course, if you're not getting a shot to begin with, maybe you're doing a little bit more risky behavior in terms of COVID. But, the fact remains that just a natural infection, those people are going to be 5 times more likely to get a positive test than somebody that just got the shot. So, yeah, I would highly recommend that parents think about getting a shot with them, talk about it with your pediatrician. I've had a lot of parents who came in with really good questions, and hopefully I answered them satisfactorily, and they were able to think about go and get the shot for themselves and their grandparents, but also for their kids. So talk about it with your doctor, but I would overwhelmingly recommend the shot for kids on the island that can get it.
Currently, in order to go to school, you have to have a TB shot, right? Do you foresee this COVID vaccine going to be a requirement?
I'm not sure. I mean, besides the TB shot, everyone has to get like the childhood immunizations to go to school, right? You need to get your measles, chickenpox, et cetera. I don't know. I think it might turn into something like a flu shot. A flu shot isn't required, but it's definitely recommended. Yeah. And if this virus keeps mutating every year, then there's probably going to be something similar like a flu shot where there's a booster for whatever variant. This is all just guessing right now, right? Because that's not where we're at right now. But I could see that happening, and yeah, it just might be one of those things that we're just going to get just so we don't have to wear masks for the rest of our lives and can just get back to gathering and stuff.
Right. So I wanted to ask about the Physicians Advisory Group. Do you guys still meet?
We do. We still meet. It's been about once a week, and usually it'll be a little bit more focused discussion. Most of the discussion right now is basically the state of the hospitals. If you know the census at GMH, where I'm a board member at, GMH is still pretty full, even though overall, like, our COVID numbers on an island look, kind of stable. And then we're coming into the winter rush, right? So one thing that's, we have a bump in cases, like just admissions to the hospital around this time anyway, because now we have other cold viruses. Of course, COVID isn't the only cold virus, and there are a handful of other viruses that can go down the lower respiratory tract. And at least as far as I'm concerned, for kids, can cause bronchiolitis, which, usually kids do just fine, but it might require a couple of nights in the hospital with some oxygen. And so, it's resources are stretched. So it's a constant topic that we have.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. I really appreciate your time and talking with us and talking to the community.
All right, always a pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Can we see the baby one more time? Is he still there?
He is still here. He's starting to get a little fussy, but all right, here we go. Come on, Reeve. Okay. He started to chunk out a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, look at the second chin. Oh, man.
Okay, now father and son have to pause so everybody can do like adequate screen grabs and everything like that, because that's a great picture.
Oh, he's so cute.
Wow.
So, Doc, at what age are you gonna mandate that he go to med school too?
Actually, I'm gonna just leave it up to him. I feel like I never had any pressure from my parents to be a doctor, and I feel like coming to that decision on my own really made me enjoy the path much more than being forced. Unfortunately had some friends in med school that really hated being in med school and ended up not finishing, and they were smart enough and they were just pressured into it and never enjoyed it. So
Right
I would
on.
hate for that to happen. Yeah.
Right on, Doc. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful
Look at
boy.
that.
guys.
You know what? This is weird, but if anybody had kids out there, you might relate. But when the drool goes down under the chin, and I don't know if you got into smelling under here, Doc, it's just, I don't know.
And the feet.
Oh yeah, you need to keep that all dry. Lots of
Same.
time, air it all
yeah,
out.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doc. Be safe.
All right.
Stay
Thanks,
safe.
guys.
There you go, Dr. Michael. Look at that. E-a-day. That's your E-a-day moment.
That's the real reason why we want
Doc,
to
I'm
see
sure
the
you're familiar with the
baby.
concept of Magodai now, right?
Yeah.